Hey everyone, I wanted to create a quick video for those that missed the meeting today and yesterday for just a rundown on what to expect in the next 36 days as far as AP Stats is concerned. And hopefully this will be informative, and I'll try to get this in about 10 minutes. We'll see what happens here. But most of the stuff that I talked about is really going to be located on the AP Stats Google Classroom page, and I just want to help you navigate it a little bit and point out some important stuff when you go to some of these places. So the first thing I wanted to start with is the AP Stats info page, and what the College Board has set up is a go-to place where you can find some information about every exam. And you can see our stats exam is going to be here Friday, May 22nd. And there's all these other tests that have all the info that you might possibly want. But at the bottom, you'll see the AP Stats test here. And a couple things I wanted to mention is there's two questions. You probably already know this, but I want to make sure that you've seen this. So there's two questions. There's a 25-minute question 1, and then a 15-minute question 2. And with question 1, what's going to happen is you're going to have your 25 minutes, and then your 25 minutes will end, and then there's going to be a 5-minute period where you just have time to upload your response. And you basically have two choices. You can type your response in a document, or you can handwrite and then upload a photo. Because of this particular exam, I really think most people are going to end up writing it down by hand and then uploading a photo instead of typing it, with possibly using a lot of different symbols. I really don't think, unless you really know the symbols and how to create equations, if you're good at that, then maybe using a Microsoft Word or something could be fine for you. But most people are probably going to write those down, upload them with a photo, and then after that 5-minute period, there's going to be another question. You have 15 minutes to do another question, and then again 5 minutes to upload it. Once that's submitted, you can't go back. The exam weight, a little bit heavier weight for the first question. Maybe there's a couple more questions to it, maybe a couple more parts. I really don't know why this one has a 55 and this one's a 45. It's a little longer, but they don't tell us a lot of information about specifics. They're both free response questions. They both can cover the same skills, where it's really vague. I really would be surprised, though. This says that question 1 and question 2 will each contain 2 or 3 of these skills. I'd be super surprised if it didn't include at least something from each of the 4. So you could expect to see something from each of the big 4 with these bullet points here. As far as what units this will cover, probably already know this. It's going to be everything except the last 2 units. And what that means is it's not going to cover inference for slopes. It's not going to cover inference for categorical data. So we do have a couple other goals that I do need to share with you in just a minute, but the things that won't cover, we didn't get to. So there's a few things we've got to make sure we wrap up before or cover before the end of the semester. But I'll show you where to get that in just a sec. There's no number 6 on this year's exam. It's going to be 2 free response questions, but it's not going to be one of those investigative tasks. And I still think that those are going to be worth practicing. A lot of those tasks are very good, and they really help develop understanding. But there's not going to be one of those on the AP test in 2020. You do get a formula sheet provided here. Some of you might want to print this out before you take the test. And the other thing that I know some people have some questions about are calculators. It's possible to be done without a calculator, but what we do want to make sure that you know is that Texas Instruments has free applets right now where you can download a version of the calculator and put it on your computer, and those are totally free. So those might be worth looking into. I'll find some more information, and I'll get some links for people that are interested in getting a computer version of the Texas Instruments calculator. There are makeup dates, which I don't know if I'll ever need that. But what I also wanted to mention, so when you go to our page here, and this is right on that same area, this security page I wanted to bring up because they realize it's open note, an open book, and you might have that formula sheet You might have other notes spread out in front of you, and that's perfectly great. What they want to make sure you don't do is use someone else or use the internet to copy work. You definitely don't want to do that. And I also wanted to point out, right here, tips for open book or open note exams. So they're definitely aware. People are going to have their notes up. They're going to be able to access stuff really quickly. And I thought that these strategies were really good tips and help for taking an open book, open note exam. This will be many of you first time taking a open note or open book test. So these might come in really handy, and just want to make sure you're aware of these. I do believe like having some class notes are going to be better. You want, everyone's a little bit different, but you're going to want to be comfortable in your surroundings. So if you've got just a couple of really good resources, that's probably better than having your entire notebook kind of laid upon or laid around, and you don't want to be sifting through a bunch of stuff not knowing where to find it. And if you can make yourself a more condensed note sheet, that might be a really good idea. And these tips, again, they're really, really good ideas. So I wanted you to know about them and check them out if you're interested. As far as the 2 goals that we didn't cover in class, where you can find some of those, there's 2 places. But one place that I wanted to show you, I've assigned them already in our Khan Academy course. And you really, I know I have a different screen view than you. I can't show you the student version. But when you have, they're going to be your past due assignments. And what I want you to pay attention to is really just the dates and when those were due. So I assigned them the goals by dates, and the stuff that was due, there's 2 dates to pay attention to, March 27th, and anything that's March 27th, you'll see these little pencils here. These are all exercises. So they're just practice problems. And what this goal covers, it's the exploring data with categorical data. And we didn't get to that yet. We would have done that right before spring break. And since that didn't happen, this is a really good tool that you can use to practice some problems with categorical data. There are 10 of these. So you'll see several of those kind of sprinkled in there, and they'll be in order when you go into your Google Classroom. The other date that's really, really important is April 13th. The April 13th stuff, that is the bivariate data. And with this one, there's 34 different things you could check out. Some of these, the pencils are exercises, the triangles are videos, and these are worksheets. What these are all about bivariate data, and these could all appear in the AP exam, just like the stuff from March 27th. And what I plan on doing in the next couple of weeks is picking a few problems from AP exams past, finding some questions that might be similar to these types of ideas, and working through a few of those. You get a sense for what kind of AP questions they've asked in the past on these particular content goals. So the other dates that are also in here that you might notice, there's some stuff that was assigned on March 30th and March 31st, and as of now I can't seem to delete those very easily. So what I just want you to do with those, just be aware of them. They are things that are about chi-square tests that are not going to be on the exam. So again, the dates that you want to practice are going to be the March 27th assignments and the April 13th. The 2 dates that you do not need to worry about, March 30th, March 31st, those will not be on the AP exam in 2020. Another resource where you can do some reviewing and learn some of this stuff is also on the Google Classroom. Maybe the most important link I've got on here is the AP Stats channel from YouTube. So when you open this up, it starts playing right away. But what I wanted to mention about this is you get the entire video library here on the right, and the first 8 videos are things that are not going to be on the exam. So they started these things a couple of weeks ago. I believe it was April 3rd, and they were given some review, but also like doing the new stuff that they assumed most teachers hadn't gotten to in their classrooms when everyone kind of went home for the summer. So the first 8 you can actually don't worry about. These are the things that are not on the AP exam this year. If you're feeling really good and you want to check out some stuff that we would have done, these videos are really, really good. You can see I've checked out a few of them. And where you really want to start is video 9. this video, and they're all about 45 to 50 minutes. This video, you can see they're titled Confidence Interval for Proportions. This is where we kind of wrapped up our course in early March. So these are great videos to see what we did right before we ended here. And they're basically going through the whole course again. And one thing I want to keep pointing out, so they've done a few of them. There's more. See these ones that say live? These ones haven't happened yet. Every day at 2 o'clock, these happen. So if you want to check them out live, you want to make sure, maybe set a clock for yourself, or just a note in your calendar. 2 o'clock every day, you can come here and watch them live. Or you can, if that doesn't work for you, feel free to come back at some other time. But today what was discussed was collecting data, sampling, and experiments. Tomorrow's got a free response question. And I don't know what that one's about, but what you'll see is a good chance to review. A couple days ago, they did normal distributions, and you could check these out as you need them. You could watch them every single day. These would be a great way to run through the course again before the exam in 36 days. I also wanted to show people my channel. My subscriber list has really skyrocketed. I'm up to 5. Fired up about that, which is nice. It was only a 1 a few hours ago. So at this rate, really be professional YouTuber here soon. And in order for me to become a professional YouTuber, I'm going to need some questions from you people to make some videos. And that leads me to the last thing I want to remind you of is under the Classwork tab. You'll have... Oh, there's actually one more thing I want to remind you of. Just a reminder here, one reminder is you have a compilation of the AP Stats exams. These are the things that I want to come back to and use as maybe a place to create some videos of things that you haven't seen in a while, or you're struggling with, or just some things you have some questions on. These are probably going to be the best questions for us to go through, create some videos. You can check them out. I've done a couple already. A couple students asked about the 2018 number 2 and 2013 number 5. So those are there, but you can see they take roughly 9 to 10 minutes, and I can create a video, give people some feedback that way. I still believe that the multiple choice questions are really good practice questions. There aren't going to be any on the 2020 exam, but I still think that there are some tasks there that are worth looking at. And if those are put a little bit behind the free response questions, that's totally okay. But I know sometimes people are working on those, asking questions, and I've been replying to those questions too. So those multiple choice questions, still really good problems to work on. But the priority probably will be the free response questions. And the last thing that I wanted to mention was, in case you really wanted to know, this has been here all year actually. Where'd it go? The AP course description. It is the link to a PDF file. It's a pretty long file, actually, 272 pages. But this is where those unit numbers are coming from. When it says they're going to test on units 1 through 7, these are those 7 units. It's a really great document, and it's not something that you would read from beginning to end. It's kind of something you could skip around in and look over. What I would point out, I'm going to scroll here to I don't care which one here. Just trying to get to a section here. So what this was developed for was for students, but these are available for teachers, but students are able to check these out. And here are the 7 units that are on the exam. These last 2 won't be on the exam this year. But what you might find, kind of useful, they actually go down, give some tips. I don't know, tips is probably the wrong word, but they give content, almost notes for each of these goals. Here we go, getting closer. All right, so here would have been like Unit 1, Topic 1.1, what can you learn from data? And in this essential knowledge column, sometimes that they give really, really good detailed notes. If I can find an example for you here without looking. There we go. Well, here was something I was thinking of. So, like, if you've forgotten, here's a formula for the difference of means, for standard deviation for a difference of means, where you add the 2 variances together. It's got a lot of detail in this thing. Again, not something you might read but if you checked it out, it probably wouldn't be the worst thing in the world either. So that's there if you want to check that thing out too. And then I took a few minutes to take questions from students, and basically that was it for what I went through today and yesterday. And one thing that I know for sure, so what's upcoming for us, there'll be at least 3 videos coming relatively soon. One is going to have to cover power. I haven't talked about that too much yet. And I'll give a little lecture on what power is and how it might be used in the exam coming up. Categorical data and bivariate data. And again, my plan is to use some questions from the old AP questions here, and I'll find some that might fit those content expectations that we just haven't done much of yet. So the final thing that I'm really hoping for, and I didn't mention this yet, but where is it here? The schedule. One thing that I still don't have information on is what website you're going to use, like how do you log in, like some of these little logistics that haven't been published yet. That information is going to be coming soon. And then the thing that I hope it leads to, and I guess I'm just hopeful, is that it could lead to a practice exam. Because at this point, I find it really, really valuable to spend 3 to 6 days in our regular classes doing a practice exam. And that is definitely not going to be the case anymore. So I'm really hoping that we can somehow figure out a way to practice submitting what it might feel like to do a question that's 25 minutes and then submit it online. And I think if we can practice this ahead of time, that will be a really, really big advantage. And I'm really looking forward to hearing more from College Board about what website we're using, how this is going to happen. Once that does, I'm hoping that we can follow that up with some practice exams. Maybe I just write some questions and we try some that way. So basically how I see the next 6 weeks going is you getting ready for the AP exam, and that's going to be through doing those old AP questions. I'll provide some videos, maybe some extra notes, and then we'll be ready for that test. That's really the only goal at this point. So hopefully this was a little bit helpful for those that didn't catch the meeting the last couple of days, and good luck preparing. So I'll talk to you soon.